So institutional kitchens have been warned to have food stored for a potential 10-day disruption in the supply chain. Will this affect you? Let's talk about it. All right, folks, welcome back. So what you see in front of you is a whole bunch of different food. I wanted to give a kind of wide representation from freeze-dried stuff, like Thrive and freeze-dried wholesalers, some Mountain House and Peak Refuel, to stuff you can do today to get ready if this warning is legitimate. Now, again, I post this warning as a heads up. As preppers, we keep track of the news going on everywhere. Some of it may be legit. Some of it may just be white noise. We don't know. But with an article with this many sources in it and talking about how institutional kitchens have been warned and then almost mandated by the government, it definitely bears paying attention to, okay? So institutional kitchens like hospitals, jails, prisons, etc., have been told casually about 3 weeks ago that they should probably have enough food on hand to get through a 10-day disruption in the supply chains. Few really paid attention to it. It was kind of like, yeah, we know. And then today, okay? And today, this article being 3 days old was the 30th of last month, they were explicitly warned to make sure you have enough food to get through a 10-day supply chain outage. The warnings originally came down from vendors and the like, and now from the government. So it's really not a suggestion anymore. It's more of a mandate. They're being told, do this and make sure it's finished and ready to go. Hospitals and institutions like prisons and jails have a population that can't go elsewhere for food. If you're locked up, you can't just walk down to the 7-Eleven and get yourself some ramen soup. You have to eat what's there. They have to have enough food. If you're in the hospital and sick, you can't leave and go to McDonald's for a burger. You have to eat what they serve you. So they have to have this food on hand. It's essential. And if somebody knows that there's definitely going to be a supply chain disruption, that would kind of make you understand why they would post this kind of a warning, okay? Now, on its face, there's really nothing going on at the moment that might give rise to the hint of a supply chain disruption, never mind specifically for 10 days. But something I've noticed personally, when I've been in a couple stores in the last few days, I've noticed we're starting to see holes like we saw back in 2020. Some of the canned food, weird things too, like sugar, rice, stuff like that. I've noticed holes in those areas, or items being all faced up front so that everything that you see there is what they have. They have one of it and it's right up front. So it looks like it's full, but if you look behind that item, there's nothing behind it. So I'm starting to notice a little bit of a supply chain disruption, but it may not be for the reasons this article states, okay? Now, there is a NATO exercise in Europe from June 12th to the 24th near the Ukraine conflict. Now, if that goes hot and some kind of massive exchange happens with Russia, there could be a problem. The powers that be already know that there's going to be some kind of situation between NATO and Russia. That's their thinking from the article. And it would be in the interest of the powers that be to cover their butts and make sure certain institutions have food and supplies in advance. That's the thinking of the article. Personally, I'm not so sure it has much to do with Ukraine and Russia. It may just be that there's really another supply chain shortage coming. Now, common sense tells us that these institutions wouldn't be getting this warning nationwide unless there was something going on. So whatever the reason be, whether it's a big exchange between NATO and Russia, or whether it's just issues in the supply chain that they're seeing pop up, common sense would tell us it's probably legit. If the government's telling hospitals and other institutions to make sure they have enough food to get through a 10-day supply disruption, then maybe you and I should start taking heed and make sure we have food too. For that fact, I would say it makes sense that we have a lot more than a 10-day supply. Now, we only have so much space to store food and so much money we can throw at this kind of a project without knowing details, but I definitely recommend to people watching that they start taking some action and getting some food stored. And that's what I was saying when I started the video out. You don't have to run out and spend big money on long-term supplies. If this is something that is in the immediate future, running down to your store and getting some canned goods, some rice, some Spam, whatever you like, in short-term supplies that are maybe good for 5 years instead of 25 years, makes perfect sense. And making sure you have a way to cook it if that supply chain disruption is really something to do with Russia and we lose power over an EMP attack or whatever, making sure you have an alternative way to cook it. If your house runs on electricity like mine does, You know, get yourself a way to cook. Get yourself a little propane single burner stove, a butane burner stove, whatever. Make sure you have a way to cook. Make sure you have clean water and a way to clean more water. And it's funny because we'll be covering water storage, a new water storage device that I'm getting pretty soon too. So this is just kind of a heads up video. I don't really know that there's anything going to happen. And again, this could be misheard info. Someone working in a kitchen hearing their manager talk to, their supplier, and, maybe they misheard something, and then they told somebody, and the next thing you know, it's like a game of telephone, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. There could legitimately be a crisis. As preppers, we need to take in all the information and discern what we see as good and bad information and act accordingly. I don't want people to panic. I don't want people to go run out and clean out the stores. But starting a prep plan where you're weekly purchasing some things, maybe, the next few weeks kind of bulking it up a bit, making sure you got at least 10 days. I would suggest a lot more, because if they're saying 10 days, you know how that goes. If you follow the instructions from Homeland Security and they're like, you should have 3 weeks of food and water. And I'm like, yeah, more like 3 months to a year, So definitely start thinking about getting yourself some food stocked. Again, the food here is in no particular order. If you don't like any of it, I get that. Go and buy what you like. Make sure you got food stored up. Even in a situation like this, if you have backup power, having a way to fill your freezer, maybe getting some bulk meats and putting it away in your freezer. As long as you have a way to power that, if the power goes out, makes for an excellent idea and a good way to keep safe. So really quick video, just wanted to make you, kind of appraise you of this situation, let you get a little heads up on it and make you aware of this warning that's out there. I really haven't seen anybody else cover it, and granted, the article I'm going to link is from the Hal Turner Show, but it is all over the internet. If you highlight the title of this video and you search for it, you will see it is all over. So it's not just one news source. Hal Turner can be a little sensational at times. It's not just one news source. There's plenty of other people reporting this information in different ways. So it's definitely out there, and there's definitely something coming down the pike. So like I said, a simple way to get prepared: go to the store, grab some food right away. You don't need to spend a fortune. You don't need to buy freeze-dried foods. These are the suppliers I trust with my, for long-term freeze-dried food, but you don't need that to get started. I certainly didn't have it when I got started because there was no way I could afford all that stuff. So anyway, heads up video. I do thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check all our links down below. All our links will have links to a lot of the freeze-dried food, like our freeze-dried wholesalers. My link will save you 15% on it if you guys decide to shop there. He is slowly getting inventory back up. Shipping is improving. Shipping times, that is. So definitely check him out. My link's going to save you 15%. There's no codes. You just click that link and shop. When you get to your checkout, you'll see my discount there for 15% on your order. Below that's our My Patriot Supply. They have their 3-month kit this month. It's $200 off. It's around $500 something. Definitely a good deal for a 3-month kit to get a good jump start. If you've got the extra money and you want to put something like that away, it's definitely a good jump start to your preparedness plans. We have our Thrive Life freeze-dried food store. I love Thrive stuff. And again, I have a few companies that I trust with my long-term food storage, and Thrive is definitely one of them. So do check them out as well. And our Amazon affiliate store. If there's nothing in the store that you really want to shop for, do click the link and just shop as you normally would. We really do appreciate when you do that. I thank you guys for watching. Remember, don't panic. Get prepared. Stay safe and stay prepared.